Yeah, hi there, this is zuxocher.com again. Welcome on my video channel. Almost everybody for us at least got one email account, preferably IMAP account. Okay, sometimes many people have more than one account. And even if you can structure your email in folders in an email account, there is one time the question about email archiving, because almost everything, contracts, bills and so on, are emailed to you and not getting to you in paper form. So in the today video I want to show you, at least in very short, that is not a tutorial, two open source solution for archiving your email. The one is MailArchiver, and the other one is Openarchiver, which got a little bit hyped in the past, but we take a short comparison about those open source solution. So let's dive in. Okay, we're here in my testing environment, and as you can see, I do this meanwhile with Dockhand rather than Portainer.io, and I establish a couple of testing environments so we can test and install the MailArchiver app first, I think. Here you got the website where you can see the main features. MailArchiver can download all the mails from an IMAP server or from a Microsoft 365 server and store them into the Postgres database. There is a short quick start like here, but I think for that one we go to the GitHub page, and as you can see here, you got here the YAML file or Docker Compose file, and it's pretty straightforward and pretty easy. We just copy that and go to Dockhand and go to Stacks and go to Create. I copied that in. As you can see here, you got a connection string for the Postgres database, which is started right here as a second container. But with this notation, you can also use a Postgres database on another host. If you have one like me, I use a Postgres database already for DaVinci Resolve. I leave the credential here like with master key and so on, but in a production environment, I would strongly advise you to choose a secure password. The only thing I change here is set the correct time zone. And that is all there is to it. And now we could create, oh, I forgot the name, like this, and create the stack or the containers within this file. That was pretty quick because for checking purposes I already downloaded the image, and now you can see here that the stack is running, and then you can see here that the two containers are already running, and now I could connect to that thing here. Okay, it's in German, I don't know why, maybe because my browser is set to that, but we take admin. Okay, we check the language like this. Now, because it's the default password for this app, I have to change that. Oh, old one, sorry. That should work, I hope. And here you got the new features for this app, and drag it down. Okay, I don't know why the language isn't kept. Okay, that's the main dashboard. And as you can see here, there are no email accounts found. I doubt if you should add some accounts to the admin account here in MailArchiver. I would prefer to use the admin account, of course, only for admin purposes. So, or even I would, depending on your environment, I would check or enable two-factor authentication. But here I would add another user like this. And here you could check if this new user should be an admin too, which at least in my opinion doesn't make that much sense. Or if you need in a greater environment, maybe two admins, that is up to you. But for the regular purpose, like one admin and a couple of users, where the mails are archived, I'd use self-manager. So the person could add mail accounts and so on by themselves. Create the user, and then I log out and log in. I think I had a typo. As the user I just created. And now we can add mail accounts. Add an account. Okay, I added the name and the credential needed for this mail account, and now we can create it. And don't worry, this mail account will be deleted after this video is recorded. Say save. And now you got here the first mail account. You got provider, and of course that is maybe a little bug or so on. That's last synchronization. That's set back to 1970, but it's updated as soon as Cinch is run. You can either edit those settings, see the details like this one, and of course can delete it if you want. Maybe now I initiate a mail quick Cinch like this, and here you can export the settings. If we go to archive, he should already get those test emails I did here for demonstration purposes, and here you got two mails. You can watch them in detail like this with the full header like this. That's pretty neat. You could export them as an EML file, which you can then use to import the mail, let's say in Thunderbird or so on. And of course, you could delete the email. If deleting any emails is lawful according to any laws here in the European Union for smaller businesses, I can't answer. You have to check that yourself. We go back to the list, and of course I can search for a certain subjects or headers or addresses and so on, so I can search through the whole archive. Let's say I would do C search. Okay. Oh, like this. And of course you can narrow the search if you maybe for some reason know the date where the mail should have been sent or received. You can do a search for all accounts or for certain accounts, and of course you can do it for outgoing or receiving emails like you can see here. Then you got here a log file where you can see what you have done so far. That it's also stored, I guess, in the database. And here you got the dashboard with an overview, like for example, statistic overview, how many accounts, how many emails, and how much storage is required for storing all those emails. As you could see, MailArchiver is pretty simple to install via a Docker Compose file. It's just straightforward. You just define your database all and some other parameters, and then you can start the program. And then what is very nice here, you have an admin account, of course, but you can add other accounts for your users, like say in your family members and so on, and they are able to structure their own account, meaning that they can add email accounts of their own to this, so their emails got archived in a way. There is another solution I have to mention, and that is Openarchiver.org, which got a little bit hyped in the past, but let's take a closer look and see how this is installed via Docker Compose. Okay, let's take for the second part installation of the other product, which is Openarchiver. We go to the Openarchiver website, as you can see here. The first thing, the dashboard looks pretty familiar with MailArchiver, but there are some differences in this app. Here we got installation procedure described, and that is we can't generate a stack. Like with Archiver or the MailArchiver, we have to clone the GitHub repository. Okay, we just copy that one here. Now already logged into my test host. Paste that in. And already changed to the directory where all the settings are in. I prepared a little bit, so it won't take that long. I copied the environment settings for Openarchiver. Let's take a look. As you can see, I set the node environment to production in contrast to development. Here you got the app URL. Of course, you have to change it if you want to access your archived mails through reverse proxy like Nginx or so on. Okay, then very important, just like in MailArchiver, in the default procedure there is a Postgres database installed, but here with the database all, you have the chance to use a running database as a database for Openarchiver, but in this example here, we just stick with the defaults. Then here you got the Redis, that's another container which is generated. Here you could choose another username, but there is a bug in this image. You have to stick with the Redis user default. All other user names won't work, but that is a bug that is in that image since the beginning of April. And the last settings we need is here the storage local root path. We have to generate this folder in just a minute. And here we got the storage key, which are already generated. Here's the command to generate those encryption keys, which are used here as an encryption key for the stored email. Okay, let's get out of the environment. And now we have to generate the folder, just like this. And since we already configured the environment, we just could go through, as you can see here, the definition for the Postgres, for the database all. So you could, in doubt, just use already running Postgres instance for Openarchiver. Okay, we just copy the Docker Compose command. That will pull up the images and generate the containers right away. Okay, created the containers. Okay, that looks pretty good. And before we start that, we go to dockhand and go to the log files to ensure that everything is okay. That looks pretty okay, so we can start the container now. And here the first account to get logged in is already the admin account. Create the account. Okay, and now we are here on the dashboard. That's pretty empty, of course. And here we have the different settings. As you can see here, for a system or your account, you can just switch the email address and, of course, your password. You don't have the chance to configure two-factor authentication so far. And then we got here the system, where you can change the display of the website, either like or system mode, and of course you could switch the language. And now we go to archive and let's get some emails. Here we got a new account. As you can see here, it also works with Google Workspace or Microsoft 365 or even EML format import. But here we want to use the IMAP account. Okay, I put in the parameters. No, don't worry, I will delete those generic IMAP accounts after the video is published. I submit. And now you can see that the authorization was successful. So there should be no problem in syncing. But we have another thing I forgot to show you. We go to the environment variables. Here you got the sync frequency. That is a Crontab syntax. So that means every 3 minutes the emails are synced to the archive. That is, you can set it up to your needs. But you also can force a sync, which we will do now. And now you can go to the archived emails. I just have 2 examples here. And then you can click on the emails like you would to see the email with all the headers and, of course, all the contents like this one here. Then you got an integrity report, which means that there is a hash over the email generated, which assures that the email wasn't changed or modified since it was archived. That might be interesting for a small business if you have to fulfill transparency rules against, let's say, the tax institution and so on. And here you can, of course, delete the email. If you don't set the flag to false, you can delete emails, but you can set it up that for users, they are not allowed to delete the emails. And of course, you can download the email as a EML format, which is understood by most of the email clients. And then you can do a search like this one. Okay, doesn't work. What is it? I think that one. As you can see here, which searches in the mail headers, it searches in the mail content, and it also searches in the PDF or other files which are attached to the email. And another thing I will show you, that is the folder we generated. As you can see here, that all the emails are stored here in the file system and not in the database like in MailArchiver, and they are set to EML files per default, and the attachments to an email like PDF or other formats, graphic formats like JPEG or PNG, are also stored in the original format. As you could see, it's pretty simple to install Openarchiver.org, but in comparison to MailArchiver, Openarchiver generates at least 4 containers. That is besides the Openarchiver app and Postgres database, which is used in both containers. Openarchiver.org also installs Apache Tika for an indexing of the attachment to an emails. So you could be able to search a certain word or a certain phrase and even find, let's say, for example, attached PDF files. On the other hand, MailArchiver doesn't use as many resources as Openarchiver because it installs only the app and the Postgres database, and on top of it, that is true for both of those containers. You could use already running Postgres database and define just the database all in the Docker Compose file, so you could access a Postgres database outside the container or even outside the specific host. Openarchiver just released while I was recording this video here a sub-new version that is 0.5.1 instead of 0.5. I even was troubling about showing you this app because the last 4 months there wasn't any development after I tried it out, while MailArchiver.org on the other hand had 3 updates in the same time. So I was a little bit conscious about getting new features here in the Openarchiver.org. What is a lot easier is to define user accounts in MailArchiver.org, meaning user accounts which only have the right to administer their own account in the app. But with Openarchiver.org, you have the admin account, and if you want to use or define another user with restricted permissions on the app, you have to define the role standard user, which you have to define with a JSON definition. That's a little bit nerdy, I think. I wish they had implemented at least the role of the standard user in the web app, so you could just right away define a lot of users in Openarchiver.org. There is another difference between those 2 apps, and that is the emails and the attachments in MailArchiver.org are stored into the Postgres database. So if you want to switch the app or something happens or so on, you have to pull out the emails and the attachments to the emails from the database, which I think isn't that easy. On the other hand, you can export a complete account in EML files, which is a standard for email files around, let's say, for Thunderbird, even Outlook and so on can read them. MailArchiver.org, as I showed you defining the path in var data, Openarchiver stores the emails and the attachment in the file system. That makes the switch or restoring the emails that you archived a lot easier, because the database is only used for indexing and the search definitions. There might be a little difference in resources, because MailArchiver.org only uses 2 containers, while Openarchiver.org, at least in the standard installation, uses 4 containers, which might result in a heavier use of RAM. Let's say I used them in the time I was testing them with a 4 GB of RAM in this container, and that worked out pretty well. But I think you have to get more RAM if there are a lot of more users and a lot of emails to be archived. Okay, if you decide either one of that, I personally will go for MailArchiver.org, because it's a little bit easier to use and it makes a lot more sense if you have only 2 or 3 users. But maybe Openarchiver.org would be the right choice for you if you have a little business or so on, and you have to be transparent about, let's say, for tax purposes and so on, because there's an integration check in Openarchiver.org meaning that you can see right away if the email archived in this system has been altered or not. Okay, that was my little view on those two apps. And if you have any questions to this, you might as well place them in the comments to this video or in the comments to the corresponding blog post. And if this video was a little bit helpful to you, might as well place a like on the video. And it even would help the channel a lot more if you subscribe my channel. But then don't forget to hit the bell so you got a notification every time I upload a new video. Okay, that was my little review on the email archiving via MailArchiver and Openarchiver. And all I have to say is till the next time, ciao, Tux Oche.